Hello, Starknet family. Welcome back to the Star Cafe. I'm Nur Star, your personal Stark barista. And once again, we are ready to serve you with some very special Starknet content. So, guys, I hope you all had a very productive week. And I think there's no better way than welcoming the weekend than holding a great Starknet African party where we'll have the privilege to be speaking with some of the most representative, of the most relevant representative of the Starknet community in Africa. And so, in this session, we'll be speaking with Paul and Kelvin from Starknet Africa, from Nigeria, and we'll also have the pleasure to speak with two other talented devs, Eliel and Decode, respectively from Congo and Kenya. And later on, maybe we'll also have the pleasure to speak with another community member from Uganda. And so, first of all, welcome, guys. How are you? Hello, Paul. Hello, Kelvin. Hello, hello, Decode.
Yeah.
Hi,
How are
hi,
you?
how are you?
Yeah. I know, sir.
Hello, guys. Hey, it's a pleasure to have you here at the cafe. It's been a while. I wanted to invite the African community at the Star Cafe because, yeah, you've been doing an amazing job in order to also help people understanding more about Starknet, about Cairo, and the potential of this scaling solution. And well, let's break the ice by having a general introduction about Starknet Africa. So maybe Paul and Kelvin will tell us a bit more about it. So I would love to know how was the idea behind Starknet Africa born, and also your vision and the first activities that I remember with Joy, like that took place in Nigeria, like 16, 18 months ago, and also yeah, what did you do like? Also, how did you help other communities, Starknet communities, pop up across the African continent as well?
Okay. So I would take that. Can you guys hear me?
Perfectly, perfectly.
Okay, cool. Okay, so good evening, guys. My name is Paul, and based on Nosta's question, so the idea of Starknet Africa. So initially, we had the idea of developing Starknet Nigeria because as of 2022, that's last year, I had a chat with Louis last year May. So we are talking about the like how great it would be to have international communities. So we started like developing Nigeria, Starknet Nigeria at the time, and also had other communities like also working on theirs, right? So, but at some point when I now thought that okay, it would be okay like to have it, let's say, as Starknet Africa as a whole. So um let's not like have different like African communities like creating their own Twitter and all. So we now changed it to Stagnant Africa, right? So that was when we hosted our first meetup um, at Web3 Lagos event last year October. But before then, I was opportune to meet Darlington, which he helped to um, streamline when it comes to developer, like helping people get started with Car 0.x, then the syntax that was based on Python as of then. So yeah, so we have been going on since then, and at some point that was December last year. Louis introduced me to Dickens. Yeah, he's on Discord, right? So they had the first meetup in Kenya, and yeah, we felt like okay, it would be very nice to work on a Kenya community. So we hosted a Cairo class for Kenya community, and from there we started like building up Kenya community, right? So the same way we also like built up the Starknet Nigeria, Starknet Africa community. That's actually the same way we have been doing it, hosting classes, educating people. Because I mean, there is a very big need for education when it comes to Starknet and Cairo. I mean, one major reason is because Cairo is a new language and people are still trying to understand how it works and all. So yeah, so the whole idea started from me having a chat with Louis, and we talked about the need of having international communities, and yeah, and I'm so happy that we actually like making a whole lot of impact in Nigeria, Africa, Kenya, Congo, and Uganda as a whole.
That's great, Paul. Thanks a lot for this introduction about Starknet Africa. I remember when you started, talking about Starknet as Starknet Nigeria, and it was nice that almost 1 year ago you took the name of Starknet Africa, and you also began helping other people creating their own local communities. And we've been seeing amazing events and initiatives in different countries of Africa. And I will now. I would like to speak to the code. To tell us a bit about himself first of all, because he's a very talented security oriented developer, if I remember well, and also yeah, tell us a bit about the Nairobi Starknet meetups that you organized in the last year.
Decode. Yeah, so I do security research and a lot of bug hunting. So I met Louis. Actually, Louis just found me. That's what I can say. So I had an issue with Protost, and then I asked a question, and then Louis was like, "Let's meet up." We talked, and then the idea of having an initiative for Kenya arose. So last year around December, Louis came to Kenya. He was just on vacation. So through the vacation, we talked, and then he was like, I think an educative content would be nice so that we can drive more developer interest. And so from that point, back then it wasn't even Cairo One. So we talked about it. And then earlier this year, we now started actualizing it. So and during that period is where I met the other guys from Nigeria, Paul, Darlington, etc. So we had to come up with our own curriculum for specifically Starknet Nairobi, and we felt like a meetup would be too soon. So we organized an online class for 6 weeks, and now we had to like curate all the content within the African team. So we even had like YouTube videos and GitHub repos where we were able to like accumulate all the resources that we got. So after the 6 weeks online classes, then we had our first Starknet meetup, which was a success because there are a number of people now, a number of devs popping up here from Kenya. So yeah, and our initiative right now is now to like direct people more towards making themselves known and also earning some sort of revenue when it comes to their development work. So yeah, so we're just pushing a lot of people to only dust, and like yeah, just showing that anyone can become anything and we can make something out of ourselves, and through contribution we can also earn some sort of a living. Yeah, so that's it.
Yeah, that's amazing, Decode. Yeah, I remember when you did the 6 weeks workshop. It was pretty exciting, and yeah, it's very nice also that like a lot of open source projects are popping up on Starknet, and this means that people from all over the world can contribute to them, and I think it could be a very good opportunity for talented developers in Africa. And yeah, having said that, like here we also have Elia, who's also a very talented dad who has been doing several experimentations with the Cairo programming language, and he also organized the Starknet Congo meetup. Hello, Elia. Could you tell us a bit more about also your background and your approach, your impressions about the Cairo programming language, and last but not least also the Starknet Congo meetup?
Yeah, thank you, Star, for this opportunity. I'm very glad to meet you guys, to meet this community. And it's been like a year that we've been doing.
Sorry, Eliel, we hear a big echo from your side. Could you try speaking again? We hear a big echo.
Is it better now?
A little bit better, but not that much. It seems as if you were playing basketball, like on the parquet, stuff like that.
Mm.
Now better. Okay. Okay, maybe yeah. In the meanwhile, I would like to say hello to Kelvin, who Ademola, who's also one of the teachers of the ongoing Starknet and Cairo base camp that began last Wednesday, and I'm also one of the students because I want to improve my tech knowledge. And so, if you're interested, I don't know if you can. Maybe I will ask him later, but maybe you can still enroll from the second class, as the first one was mostly introductive. And yeah, get in touch with him if you want to attend the base camp. And yeah, let's give it another try to Al. Al,
Can you hear me okay?
perfectly right now. Yeah, wonderful.
All right, thanks. I think it was the filter on spaces. Now, yeah, that's fixed now. So I was saying that I'm very glad to meet all the guys here, Paul, Noster, Decode, and other folks. We've been talking in different Telegram groups and also Discord and through boot camps and so forth. And so it's great to meet as a community, as Africa, as representing this new community that we are building all together. And for me, it's been um, it's been a journey, like since last year, because I attended my first Cairo boot camp by Encode Club. I think there are some folks here who also attended that boot camp. So it was a very good boot camp that opened a new way of developing dApps and investigating this new way of building zero knowledge application and
Hello,
the
everyone.
technology about Starknet and being able to deliver at least something with Cairo Zero, which was very challenging at first. And I know for many people, as we usually say in the community, living on the edge without so much documentation, without many resources, but trying to cope every day and to build. And this is a great journey for us to build and to learn from bottom to up and seeing how the technology is growing and seeing the community that is growing. So it's been a very good and a very challenging journey for me and for the community. So personally, I have a background in building systems and also in mathematics and some physics. So for me, seeing how the equations, how mathematics can change uh, the way that some processes in the society are being built is something that is great. And building a community around that, showing to people how this technology is something that I can say that has never been done before, and that is changing or scaling other technologies like Ethereum, and having the potential to know this technology while it's starting is a great way. Is a great way to contribute to the technology, but also to the community. So I think through this space, we are also going to talk about how this will impact our societies. And I'll be very happy to share about that and how, as a community, we are building around that.
Absolutely, Hal. We'll be speaking a bit about the community and social impact of blockchain technology in general. And but before doing that, I would also like to let one of the the last community members of the Starknet Africa community, in the sense that he opened is growing a Starknet community in Uganda. And hello, the first nomad. How are you? Welcome to the Star Cafe. And tell us a bit more about the Starknet Uganda, and also the recent meetup that you held there.
Hello, good evening, everyone. I'm a little bit late to the party. I apologize for that. As an Starknet Maxi and a blockchain Maxi and an OG crypto trader, I had a very bad experience with using DeFi and wallets hacks, wallets being drained by bots, and issues regarding with losing crypto and so many things. First, when I got to learn about the account abstraction provided by Starknet wallets like Bravos, it eventually made me realize that the value this technology will bring to the mass, not just me, but to the general public in Africa, provided that I know and provided that I have a first-hand experience in people losing their cryptos, their coins, their tokens, people losing their wallets because of just using seed phrases. So first, I developed that fund of using Starknet and Bravos wallet and the smart contract wallets. After that, I have realized and I've seen what the Starknet Africa have done in Nairobi, and then I reached out to them, leading to my introduction to into the Starknet community. Thanks to Baul, who helped me in facilitating the community in setting up things, and who helped me a lot. I appreciate that. After being introduced into the community by Baul and the Starknet Africa, I set up a Starknet Kampala community. We organized a meetup with the help of Baul and another guy that I met in Uganda. We have done a very successful meetup whereby we had a surprise visit from other projects and other blockchains like Polygon representatives and Brave Browser East Africa community rep. So our Starknet community meetup in Uganda eventually turned up to be a Web3 meetup instead of just a Starknet meetup, and it was a success. So that is the general aspect of what we did, and now our community is growing, even though it's still young, but it's still also much of a user base than a dev base. We have a few devs, but mostly are of users and people who are fond of Starknet like that. So that is it. Bless you.
Yeah. That's very inspiring. The first number. Thanks a lot. And maybe if you can mute your mic, please.
Okay.
Okay.
All right.
Thanks, the first. Yeah, absolutely. We also need like communities that are also a bit more users oriented, because obviously Africa has an amazing potential also in terms of users. And because there's a big young population, and you're very mobile friendly, and I think this will be playing a major role in crypto adoption in Africa. and also like as the technology proceeds, we'll be able also to offer use cases where users don't need to have too much technical experiences. So this would open to mass adoption even more. But yeah, before moving to the to the last part, to the second part of the space, I would like to shout out to the live listeners here. Thanks a lot to Maurice, Dalmas, Pablo, Kawede, Mulili, Venesoft, Mart, David, and also the guests once again for making this African Starknet Africa Star Cafe possible. And I'm really having a great time. But right now I would like to know if you guys, there's somebody from you who's building on other L2s beyond Starknet. So and also, what do you think what do you think that makes Starknet a promising scaling solution? We can start with Decode. Yeah.
Yeah, so personally, I'm not building in any other L2. It's just Starknet for now. Now, why do I think Starknet is ideal? I'll first speak from, let's say, an ordinary dev who'd want to like build something. Starknet has a unique community in that there's a lot of support. So anyone who it's easy to onboard, it's easy to start from being a total noob and to like scale your way up. So in terms of ensuring that there's quite good community and there's a lot of support and help, whatever there is case. And specifically, big shout out to someone like Gutman, who's like always there and willing to listen. Like I think Starknet it's the only L2 where anyone can just drop into a Telegram group and just ask a super noob question and then you'll be answered. So from that perspective, yes. Why do you think Starknet has it's a better solution? Tech-wise, in terms of the technology itself, I think Starknet is quite superior in terms of the tech itself, and also in terms of it natively being able to solve like problems that hinders like scalability. So I think the fact that something like accounts, they're just like natively, there are no EOAs in Starknet helps. It's a huge boost. So yeah, so I think, and also the activities around Starknet are a bit interesting in terms of the technology that people are working on, which is very, very amazing. So yeah, so I think Starknet definitely, because of the technology too, because of the community, it's very easy for someone new to just come in and like build.
Very good. What about you, Hal? Would you like to add something on the matter?
Yeah. So for me, I had the confusion about L2 before I started working on Starknet. So I had another perspective of what L2 was, but with Starknet, I understood how it worked. And at first, because there were these questions like, why a new programming language? Why can't we stick to other programming languages? And why do I need to learn a new programming language? So I went through like a journey of learning how does it work deeply, and also thanks to the bootcamp that I attended in last April, we had an opportunity to learn more about how the architecture is made and how is it different from other technologies. So one example that I can just take is the circuit R1CS and AR representation in Cairo, which is very different in the way that it can run complex operations, but also having an opportunity to build like a full Turing machine which can be run to generate proof, which is like a big change in the way that we can generate proof on systems like ZK Snarks and Starknet. So I think for me, after I learned about other technology and Starknet, I really appreciate that I learned Starknet and went deep into the technology, because even other technologies are now embracing the tools or the concept that have been developed in the Starknet community. So I think it's very important for us as the developers to have like a generic view on how other platforms are working, and then to see how uh, we can apply like this technology to our use cases. And one of the cases that I can take is that with Starknet and the proof generation, we can have certainty that our proofs can run even if we have quantum computers. We can still trust in the system that we have and in the proofs that are being generated on the network. So that's just an example that I can take, but there are plenty other advantages of this technology in the ecosystem.
Thanks a lot, El. Yeah, it's true that like Starknet began also like experimenting with account abstraction from a very early stage, and obviously Starknet is a account abstraction native. And for example, a confirmation to that is that some of you must have heard about the matter regarding wallets, because basically Starknet wallets had to be upgraded during the past 6-8 months, because these wallets have to be upgraded for the fact that they were created with a sort of standard of account abstraction standard, as far as understood. The was the first like account abstraction standard, or one of the first. And after a while also there was a kind of standard developed by the Ethereum Foundation, and in order also to be like for interoperability and stuff like that, it was decided that these wallets had to go to have an obligatory upgrade in order to keep on functioning very well on Starknet. So sometimes being first also on the technology feature has pros and cons, but I think we're past that. And so I think Starknet wallets will be playing a very important role in the development of the whole network, as they've already been doing. And having said that, right now, yeah, I don't know if there's anybody of you who would like to add something on this topic. Maybe Paul or the first. Maybe yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So there's this saying that it's normally like popped up in the comments. Like they say, you come for the tech, you stay for the community, right? So even if you come for the tech, like the Starknet has, which is native account abstraction and being able to run provable programs, right? I mean, you would be impressed by how the community is being run, right, and how everybody's like always how everyone always like wants to help you in like stuffs you do, right? So generally, I feel the community alone would actually make anyone to want to like participate in Starknet and the technology as a whole. That's actually like what I want to add to what El and Dickens have said.
Very good, Paul. And well, let's move, to the final discussion of this special Star Cafe, where we'll be speaking a bit about general Web3 potential in Africa, and their advantages, challenges, and the different situation in the respective areas that we are talking today, and even beyond. And if there's anybody from the audience who would like to say something about the discussion, or also about the previous points, feel free to either write a comment or just sending us the request to speak, and I'll be glad to grant it to you. And then maybe also Kelvin, if you would like to say something about the base camp, just feel free to send a request to me. Otherwise, I will remember about that on my own. And yeah, so guys, let's start a bit with Eliel from the Starknet Congo community. And Eliel, tell me a bit your own view about the potential of blockchain technology. So we'll be speaking about even beyond Starknet, about the potential of Web3 technology in Africa, please.
Yeah, thank you, Nestor. I'll start with the blockchain and then I'll finish with the potential of Starknet. So, as we know, in the financial space, we have a lot of people here who can access banking system, which is I remember like 2 years ago we were working on a platform, a music platform, and then we wanted to accept payment. It was quite challenging. Access to the APIs, to the technology and everything, and also policy, all the paper and everything. So it's quite complicated to get the people connected. The second thing, I think it's David who is here, who talked about it in our meetup, that sending money from an African country to another is quite challenging. Like, say, Congo, sending money from a network, a mobile banking network in the DRC to like in Kenya or Uganda is quite challenging. So I think that only can speak itself about the potential of this. The second thing is that people always fear money laundering, but also crime and so forth. But right now, everybody's talking about the fact that blockchain or crypto is more traceable than cash that we have. So, like Congo has a lot of tragedy in war and in insecurity in some places, but I think if money can be tracked, and we know, like on the blockchain, who is doing this and what is being done with these funds and so forth, that would be huge for the community and peace building in countries like Congo. The second thing is that we have a lot of issues about land here. So land management systems with tokenization of land and all the management about that is also a great opportunity for many people, because like in DRC, I can say that more than 70% of cases at court is about land. So that's another opportunity that crypto has to help build peace in many countries in Africa. So about Starknet, the fact that we have different layers will bring a lot of opportunities. Um, let's take an example of Kakarot, for instance. So it's some people we talk about it like a layer 3. So we create a layer on top of another layer. Now imagine that we can build something that I say layer n. So we have another layer on top of another layer. So I think we have an opportunity to build a system that can work in bad network conditions, because we can have like nodes that are working on the network, which can send proof to the upper layer at a certain time. So with many places not having good internet connection, I think that will be huge for them, because payment can be done like in a smaller network on a certain layer, and then proof can be sent to another layer and from that layer to the other layer and so forth up to Ethereum. So I think those are the opportunities like in blockchain and on the Starknet side. Thank you.
Amazing, Hal. Yeah, it was also very inspiring to hearing about also the possible practical use cases of of blockchain in Africa, such as the ones related to land. So, like blockchains enables also the possibility, like to buy land, in different people, let's say, right, to share a land together, or to invest in a land by directly helping the people who are working on the land. And yeah, I'm really excited to see how such similar scenarios could play in Africa. And what about Nigeria, Paul?
Okay. Generally, what else is like it is general when it comes to Africa as a whole. So what's crypto has actually like brought? What's crypto blockchain has brought is like being able to do borderless payments, right? So now with crypto blockchain, you could do borderless payment, and you wouldn't have the like need to wait weeks or days to process your
Starkware,
payment
who
to
will
other
introduce
countries,
us to the
right?
latest open source
So
project that is being
there is a
experimented
whole lot of
in the
advantage.
Keep
Like
Starknet Strange
we
GitHub
are going to get,
repository.
let's say,
And I'm
using
talking about
Starknet for
Madara,
this,
a
because
Rust-powered
generally when it
Starknet
comes
sequencer.
to
So first of all,
Africa, or
let's
even
welcome
the world
Abdel.
as a whole, right?
Hi, Abdel.
People
How are you?
Hi,
tend to
I'm
feel
fine,
like,
thank you.
okay,
Very
when
happy
they
to be
use
there and have the
externally
opportunity to
owned
discuss
accounts
about
like
Madara.
MetaMask and all,
My
they need to
pleasure. Very
always get
excited to
to
hear
say
this episode.
private
And
keys,
well, Abdel,
phrase and
explain
all
to us
there.
what Madara is
For now,
and how this
since
idea
we
to build
have
a Rust sequencer for
Starknet that
Starknet came
offers
up.
account
Please.
Okay,
abstraction like
sure.
natively, right?
So
You
basically,
when
the
it matures
original
like
idea,
completely, right? I mean,
we
we're
are
going to like
starting
see,
to
even though like it's
gradually
gotten to a very good
move
stage right now,
our
you're going to like see the
technological
power
stack
of
to
this.
Rust.
So by people don't even need
So
to like
it
care. It's
started
just going to
with
feel like you are interacting
Lambda
with a
class
Web2
implementing
platform,
the
right?
VM in
With a
Rust,
very cool
and
UX
then
that
progressively
Starknet like
we
offers.
started to
So
switch
I
the
I do
infrastructure
feel
to
I do
Rust
feel that we
mainly
are already
for
getting there,
performance reasons.
right? And things are
And
going to
now
take
we are
quite some time to
in the
mature
process
to
of
a very good stage,
building,
but we are
starting
getting
to
there.
build
But
the sequencer.
what crypto has done
So
for
just a reminder
Africa when it
about what
comes
is the
to
sequencer.
handling
So
payments and all
basically on
is quite
the
like
validity
exciting. And
rollup, the
adding
sequencer is
account
the entity that is
abstraction to it
responsible
is
of
it's a big
producing
plus. It's a big
blocks.
plus. Yeah.
So basically that means executing
Absolutely,
transaction
Paul.
and then
Completely agree with you. And
batch them,
Decode, would you also
validate
like to add
them,
something
execute them, and then produce
regarding
block.
Kenya,
And
and what kind of
then
use
those
cases
blocks will
are
be
you seeing in
proven
Kenya? And also
asynchronously by
maybe
the
yeah, also
prover,
about
and then the
the
prover will
security
submit
part, both in also
the
in
proof of
in
execution
the
and the state
software
diff
part, and
that will be
also
sent
beyond
to
that.
the
How can
Ethereum L1
blockchain
contract.
help
So
in
basically,
this
the
field?
sequencer is a very central
Yeah, so I
entity in the
think
network. It is very
as my
important
colleagues have said, like
because it is what
there are
will
good use
give
cases to what
the
like a blockchain
throughput of the
technology can
network,
do
and
to us. But I think maybe I'll
also
just take a slightly
how
different approach.
fast will
Maybe I'll
be the
just say
blocks
I'll talk about
the
for
exclusion of
example,
transaction.
something like
So
Starknet
this is
can
a very
do to you.
important piece
Like
of
it
the
literally has
architecture
the
of the
infrastructure and
validity
so on, right?
rollup.
So
So
I
we need
think
it to
for the
be
Kenyan community, what I
very
really
fast and
tell
very
them, and
performance.
when we are having our own interaction, is
That's why we start to
what is
try
the
different
ability of
approaches
having
basically
the
to
power
implement
to
this
change your
sequencer.
life
Basically,
just
there are
be
multiple
literally
options.
sitting on your hand. So
We can
for
do it
example,
from
something like
scratch. That
Starknet,
means
they only does
build
stealing.
everything from
It's
scratch,
a good
including
mechanism where I
the
can just empower
storage,
myself. So
networking, the
I do not
peer-to-peer
have to do nothing much. I just have to
consensus
be
stuff, etc.
slightly good at what I'm
Or
doing and
we
just
can
showcase
take
myself out
an
there, and I'll be
existing
able
piece
to
of
contribute,
software
and then
that
I'll be
enable
some
us
sort of
to
like
to
remuneration.
use
So
battle-tested
for Kenya
primitives
specifically,
that
in
will
terms
save
of
us some time and
developers,
enable
that is
to
what blockchain by
to
virtue of
leverage
Starknet
what
has
has
in
been
store for you. Like
already done by
become
others.
literally anything.
I'm
You can
exploring
learn and
this
then grow, and
this
then
option.
even as you're learning,
So
you're going to
Madara
get the
is
subcon,
exactly
and you
this.
can
The
also
idea is to
have the ability to
leverage
like
substrate. So a
sustain
few words
yourself.
about Substrate. So basically,
So
Substrate
yeah,
is
so in terms of
a framework
real
or an
like
SDK that enable
immediate
developers
life
to build
impact,
their
that
own
is what
blockchain very easily. So it
is
has a
like
very
close to me because
modular
I've seen it. Like
architecture.
I'm more of a living
The
proof
idea
of
is that
being able to do
you
something
can
within
take
the
some
ecosystem and then
components,
just being
so
able to get opportunities out of that.
some
So I think
components
blockchain
in Substrate terminology
in terms
are
of
called
society,
pallets, and the
personal
pallet is a custom
solution
blockchain
to
logic of the
let's say our personal
protocol.
problems, be it like
So you
getting
can take
income,
existing
that is
pallets.
there
For
because
example, you can use a
there's like
pallet
need
that
for
handles
skill
some
and
voting
expertise, and
system. You
like
can take a pallet
everyone
that
is
handles
almost like
staking,
learning, so you have that
NFT, whatever
advantage
you
that
want.
you can just
And
without knowing anyone, you
for
can just
your custom need,
showcase
you
yourself
can
out there.
implement them as
In
new
terms of a
pallets. So
societal
this is exactly
problem,
what we
as
do
I
with
said, there are
Madara.
certain cases that
We
I
want to
think
focus for the
blockchain
moment on the
is
execution
able
of
to
Starknet
solve
transactions.
certain issues. For example,
That
even
means
us
we
here in Kenya,
created
we have like
basically
land issues, we have
a
different
custom palette to do
issues
that,
that
but I will maybe
are
explain
something like
later
the
about
technology
more in
itself
details
being
about the
positioned
architecture. But
to solve
yeah,
it. Yeah.
this is
So
a general idea of Madara. So it can be a
That's great,
candidate for
Decode. And
to
the first
become the
Nomad,
public
would you like also to
the
say something
canonical
related
sequencer
to
of
Uganda?
public
And
Starknet.
what are your impressions about blockchain
It's not
adoption there?
sure yet that it will be, but it has the potential. At least it is a candidate. But at least even if it doesn't
we all know
become the
that
sequencer of the public Starknet, it
blockchain
will be
adoption
usable
has
for
been growing
blockchain
over the
or
last
layer
few
2s.
years,
But
and
again, I can explain
Uganda
more
is
later
no
on that
exception
front as well.
in accepting
Very
the
well. Thanks a lot,
blockchain revolution
Abdel,
and
for
the
brushing
idea
up the concept
of the decentralized
sequencer first, but
web
also
in
to
Web
explain to us
3.0.
the idea behind
Right
Madara,
now here
and
in
also telling us
Uganda,
the role that
almost
Substrate
all
plays in all
everyone
of
is
this.
using
And right now
their
I'm scrolling down
mobile
the
phones to
GitHub
do
page of
transactions,
Madara, something
whether
that
it
I
is
also suggest
mobile
our
money or
listeners
whether
to do.
they're using
And I'm
mobile
seeing
banking or whether
its
they're paying for
architecture.
coffee or whether
So
they're
I'm
buying
seeing that
meals.
Madara
Everything
is composed by
nowadays people use.
especially by three
They are more
by
active
components.
digitally
There
than
are
the
node
way
palettes
they were
and the
like
runtime.
5 years or
Could
10
you
years ago.
elaborate a bit deeper
So
on
the
that,
idea
please?
of
Yes,
mass
for
adoption
sure.
of
Okay.
Web3 in
So
Uganda
basically,
and
the
in East Africa
architecture is the following.
very much, like I would say, is very much possible.
In Substrate,
And
there are multiple components.
blockchain is the
Basically,
backbone of
you
Web
have
3.0, provided
the
that
runtime, which is the main piece of
developers and
the
companies
Substrate
and
architecture. So basically,
entrepreneurs
the runtime is
create
responsible of
innovations that
executing the
bring
pallets,
new
which are
opportunities
on-chain
to
execution. So
society.
basically, the
Like,
runtime, you can see it
for
simply
example,
as the box
when the
that
mobile
will
phones
be responsible
came,
of
people used to
doing
use
the state
lines before, and then the
transition
mobile
function.
phones
In the
came.
blockchain,
People opted for the mobile
you
phones.
have
When the
states,
mobile
then
phones, people were using mobile phones, and then the
blocks, and you
smartphones
get
came, and people
another
opted for
state.
the
Basically, how you
smartphones.
get this
So
new state
the
is
idea of
you
Web3,
apply
I
a
believe,
state
will be
transition function.
adapted
It can
very
be
much everywhere.
many things. So, for
And
example,
the
it can be an
opportunities are
EVM,
unlimited.
it can be
I
a
can't just
Starknet
say
OS,
it's
etc.
something to
So
do
the
with
idea of the runtime is
land or
really
health
to
or
execute
financial
the
sector.
state transition
It's
function
unlimited,
and
provided
enable to
that
get the new state
the
of the
devs
blockchain.
and the companies and the entrepreneurs
So
and
the
people
runtime
with
is
brains
the
are
central piece
creating
that coordinate
opportunities
the
that people
different
can
pallets
utilize.
and
In
execute
Africa
them
and in Uganda
to
currently,
get the new
the population is
state
very
function.
young.
Then you have the palette.
Actually, the whole
Like
of
I said,
Africa population
you
is
can
very
take
young,
existing
and
pallets
they
or
are very
implement
active in Web 3.0,
your
particularly in the
custom
finance
pallets or
sector.
your needs. This
And
is
I
what we
think
did for Madara.
Starknet
I
is
will
the
explain
backbone of
in details
Web
exactly what
3.0,
this
Web
palette
3.0,
does.
with it is
But before I will explain
as
the
it is
other
the
part of the
pioneers of
architecture. So
this new
um,
technology, account
you
abstraction,
have
which
then
gives
the
people
client.
that
So
peace
what
of
is the
mind
client?
that they never had
Basically,
before.
in
Like
Substrate
when someone
terminology,
wants
it is
to do
called the
transactions
client
online, or
outer
maybe when
node.
they want to
And
be
basically,
active in
it
the
means it is responsible of
crypto
everything that is not
industry
the
or
state
the Web
transition
3.0,
function, like
people
interaction
always
with
have
the
this
outside
perception that
world,
they're going to be
like
hacked, they're going
basically,
to lose
for
their money,
example, the
they're going to
networking
have
communication with
vulnerabilities, something
other
of that
peers
sort.
in the network.
I think
The outer node is
with
also
account
responsible
abstraction
of
technology,
storing
Starknet should
information.
be the pioneer of everything.
The RPC
Starknet should be
layer,
the go-to
you have also
blockchain
some
in
telemetry.
Africa,
So
not just in
telemetry
Uganda,
is
in
how you
Africa,
can
if not the
monitor
whole world.
your node
I would
based on
summarize that.
different metrics, like for example CPU
Very good, the
usage,
first
memory
Nomad.
usage, stuff like
Yeah,
that.
let's see what the future host for Starknet.
consensus.
blockchain
yeah,
technology
these are the
in
three main
Africa and
pieces
all
in
over the world.
substrate
And
architecture.
could you
The
mute
client
your
outer
mic,
node
please?
with the
Thanks a lot.
external
And
world
so, guys,
communication,
we're coming
the
to the end of
runtime
our
that
Star
runs the
Cafe
pallets, and then
that
the pallets.
focused on the
One
Starknet
cool
scene
thing
in
about
Africa. And
that
I
is
must
that
say,
basically
I've
the
been having
runtime
a
is a
great
WebAssembly
time. It's
runtime.
been a very
So for people that
insightful
don't know
session.
WebAssembly, you can see
So
it
first of
basically
all,
as
I would like to
a
thank
very
all the
portable
listeners who took some
representation
of
of a
their very
program
precious
that
time
can
to
be
be with
run
us
in
today.
many different
And I'm
kind
very
of
grateful for that.
architecture,
And hopefully,
including
I mean,
a web browser,
if you would like
for
to know
example.
more about
And
Starknet,
it is very flexible.
like
And
make
because
sure also to attend the
Substrate has
Starknet-based
this
camp that has
WebAssembly
just
runtime,
begun, or
it
the next
enables
ones,
you some
or
very
just get
cool
in touch,
features, like for
with
example,
Paul, with
the
Hal,
code
with the
of
first Nomads, with Kelvin, with the
state
codes,
transition function
and
is actually
and myself as
compiled
well,
in
if you need
WASM. So
help.
that means you can do
And if
some
you would like also
what they call forkless
to
upgrades.
organize,
So
a
for
meetup
example,
in your
basically
city,
in a
and
traditional
or another country,
blockchain, if you want to
than
do
the
a
ones
network
we discussed
upgrade, for
today,
example, you will need to
or even in
coordinate
other
and
cities
ship
of
the
these
software,
countries,
and then
feel free to
all the
contact
nodes will have to
Starknet
update their
Africa
software and
and
then
the other
coordinate and
local
run the new
communities, and I'm
software,
sure
etc.,
they will
etc.
be
But
very
with
glad
this
to help you
WebAssembly
out
runtime,
in building
you
your
don't have to
local
do that because
Starknet
basically you can
community.
do an
Let me
upgrade
see if
on
there
one node, for
are any
example,
questions,
and
because I
have a
saw.
mechanism to
Okay,
determine how to
okay.
allow upgrades, obviously,
Okay,
because
Pablo
you don't
says
want
for many
anyone to be
people,
able
blockchain is like a myth.
to trigger
I
an
think
upgrade
one of the things that will unlock
on
the
the
power of
network,
this
but you can couple
technology
that, for
is
example,
creating a real solutions
with some
with it.
voting-based
We
mechanism. For
absolutely
example,
agree with
let's
you,
say,
Pablo.
and this is what
And
we do currently. For
hopefully,
example, for Starknet,
blockchain
there is a
technology
vote, and people vote to accept an upgrade or not.
will
But with that,
do
you could
better
actually
in
do the
helping
actual upgrade based on
Africans,
this vote, and not only
improve
because, for example,
their
here
living
you need to trust that the
living
humans will
standards,
actually do the
and
upgrade if the
and improve
vote is yes.
the
But
world
with Substrate,
as a
you can imagine
consequence
a
as well.
system where
And
once the vote
and
reaches
that's all
the
for
majority of
for
yes,
the contribution from
automatically the
the
upgrade
audience.
can be triggered
And
on-chain
yeah,
and
having said
without
that,
any
thanks a lot,
intervention from
Paul,
node
Decode,
operators,
Eliel, and the
because
first Nomad for coming
because
today. Thanks a lot.
thanks
It's
to
been
the
an amazing
WebAssembly
session.
runtime. So this is very,
Thank you
very
too. Thank you
powerful.
so much for
It
hosting
also
us.
comes with some constraints,
Yeah,
for
thanks.
sure. But yeah, I won't go into the
Thank
details, into the specifics, but
Thanks, guys. Thanks a
you
lot once
cannot
again.
take any
And
existing Rust project
it's now
and
time
convert
to
it to a
close.
substrate palette
Remember
because of
to
that,
share the
because it needs
Starknet
to have a
vibe, and
specific
see you the next time. Bye, guys. Take
limitation
care.
that is to be
Take
able
care.
to run without the standard Rust library. But anyway, it's a technical detail, technical implementation detail. So yeah, I can tell more about the Starknet palette. So the Starknet palette, basically, it is responsible of handling Starknet transactions. We have roughly three main types of transaction. Declare transaction, where you actually declare a new code for a new class, and then you have the possibility to deploy an account, and then you can also obviously invoke a transaction. Those are the regular transactions you do when you interact with a smart contract. So we have those three transactions that are accessible in the palette. And then basically the idea is to package, to bundle the blockifier. So the blockifier is a repository that is being developed by Starkware internally. And the idea is that it has the core logic of the sequencer. That means the actual execution of Starknet transaction. So the blockifier itself bundles the Cairo VM. So this is very modular approach, basically. So we have Madara that implements a Starknet palette that integrates the blockifier that enable to execute Starknet transaction and implement the syscalls that are present in the Starknet OS, and then uses the Cairo VM to do the actual execution. I will do a stop there because I talked too long, but yeah, that's the overview of the architecture. Does it make sense?
Yes, it does, indeed. Thanks a lot for this great explanation about the architecture of Madara. Right now, before asking you for the last question, I would also like to invite the other contributors of Madara to the space. So feel free to send me a speaker request if I've not sent you one yet. And the question for the last question is like, although you already gave us a spoiler on the future role and possible role of Madara, I would like to know how Madara relates to the current Starknet sequencer, how it relates to the concept of L-trees, and how does it relate to Kakalo, if it could relate to Kakalo at all, and this kind of relation. I would like to know this.
Okay. I will let first Matthias speak. Matthias is a very active contributor on Madara, and actually he will give part of the answer because he has some very special need related to Madara. And I also invite Davide to speak if he wants, because he is also contributing to Madara. Please go ahead, Matthias.
Hello, hello everyone, and thank you, Nerstar, for for inviting me to speak. So, indeed, I think Madara is a very, very exciting project, and I've been working on it from pretty much the beginning now. And yes, there are a lot of different use cases enabled by Madara. I wasn't there at the beginning of the space, so I don't exactly know what Abdel you talked about already. But on our side, I'm very excited about the possibilities of future L3s that Madara enables. And why did we decide to go with this architecture? It's mostly because Substrate is like very, very generic in itself. So Substrate doesn't force you to, in any design choice when you're designing your app chain, like it doesn't force you like to use a specific account ID type, a specific hashing function, or anything. It's all generic. So when you're creating your app chain, you can just try out different hashing functions, different types of storage layout, for instances, and that's very, very powerful, right? Especially when it comes to L3s and when you have when you want to design something that is very customized for your own need, that is very powerful. Like even you can easily try different consensus algorithms. So Starknet hasn't decided yet on which consensus algorithm is going to be used, but on the layer on top of it, we can already start testing out and making some design choices. So at Pragma, we basically want to leverage Madara to build our own L3 that will be that will be optimized for many things. We want to change a lot of things you can think of it as a custom Starknet, but like with a different storage layout, with a faster consensus, because we're not be a general blockchain, but more like an app chain. Those are the main things. And of course, for instance, slashing is like very easy to implement on a Substrate blockchain. Whereas if we were to design some kind of off-chain network or thing like that, it would be way harder and even more opaque, which is something we really don't want. I think that sums it up pretty well.
Great, thanks a lot, Evolve, for your explanation and views about Madara. Abdel, would you like to add something, or shall we proceed towards the closing time of the Star Cafe?
I can add a few words on that. Even though Matthias did a great explanation on that. But yeah, as I said, Madara is a very serious candidate to become potentially the sequencer of the public Starknet, but it's very cool because even if it does not become, it will still be usable by layer 3, app chain, etc. So we are discussing with many projects, like Matthias, who is actively involved in Madara for Pragma Network, but we are also discussing with Dojo, which is a kind of a framework for game developers to easily run some gaming project on Starknet. So we are discussing with them on how to use Madara to have a fast app chain that will enable games to be actually usable. So hopefully in few weeks we'll be able to have a first public testnet of Madara that will showcase some interesting stuff. I won't say more about that for the moment, but please expect to hear more about Madara very soon. And it's only the beginning. Matthias, you wanted to add something before I continue?
I mean that as you mentioned, the great thing is that we're not the only one that cares that sees in Madara a lot of potential. As you say, there is Dojo, there is Sadprima, there is Kakarot, I think. There is even people from Giza, so working on AI, on-chain AI inference, and many more. Like, yeah, once we start to showcase something that actually works and that people can easily customize to their needs, yeah, I think we will see more and more people thinking about new ideas and new, just new innovation that will be able to arise from Madara. So that is very, very cool.
Awesome, guys. Thanks a lot. I'm really looking forward to the further developments of Madara. And right now, we've now come to the closing time of the Star Cafe, where, as you know, we talked about Madara, the Rust-fueled Starknet sequencer that is going to play an amazing role in the scaling concepts of concepts of Starknet. And I would like to thank the guests, first of all. Thanks, Abdel, thanks, Matthias, for coming today. And then I would also like to thank all the listeners for taking some of your time to be here with us. So thanks a lot, guys. And see you on the next episode of the Star Cafe.
Thank you. Goodbye.
Thank you very much. Bye.
Bye, guys. Bye to everybody. Take care.